Hello viewers, Marianne from Revealing Light Tarot. Such a lot going on lately, but this reading is, as promised, is going to look at the solar eclipse in Cancer on the 21st of June or 21st of June, depending wherever you are placed in the world or located in the world. It is quite... my intuition is telling me, putting astrology aside, it's going to be quite a impactful time. In the US, of course, we've got a lot of volatility occurring. We do have that president is holding his rally on the 20th, and the solar eclipse takes place at around 2:41 or thereabouts on the 21st, so AM that is. So we've got eclipse energies affecting that rally as well, and not to mention the massive protests that are still ongoing. So I've printed out an astrology chart. I'm just going to look at that briefly, then we're going to go back to an oracle and a tarot reading. But I think I wanted to do this today because it is such, I feel, going to be such a momentous time. I think all the eclipses give us cause to pause and be a little bit cautious as well. Of course, you've got the rising COVID cases in the US as states open up. And of course, with these mass protests, you've also got a resurgence as well. Unfortunately, with this rally, there could be that aspect as well, that people who attend the rally may do so, and it may impact on their health in terms of COVID. So let's bring the laptop down. Let's have an overall look at the chart, and then we'll move into the tarot. Okay, I'm not sure how well you can see that. I need to update my software if I'm going to be talking astrology charts. But basically the solar eclipse is in Cancer. And of course, Cancer is that sign of feeling, often very deep feeling, and at times can tend towards insecurity depending on how the emotion is being expressed. Sometimes it can take a passive-aggressive route as well, but not always, because Cancer and emotions can be very healing. They can put us in touch with our feelings that we haven't given voice to, those feelings that have been suppressed. So you can see that the solar eclipse in Cancer is actually in the sign that would make the most sense at the moment, because we do have this repression now finding the emotion rising up and now finding expression in protests, in the Black Lives Matter protests. So I think just getting to the eclipse, we have the sun and the moon at 0 degrees. As I said, I don't know how well you can see this. They are conjunct in the third house. I would think the third house of communication. So sun and the moon, what do they do? When something is conjunct like that and at an exact degrees, you're going to amplify the effects. So to me, I think that this solar eclipse has the potential to be extremely strong, to bring forward very, very strong emotions. The moon and the sun together at 0 degrees in the third house, to me, represents a balance coming forward between the masculine, which is the sun energy, and the feminine, which of course is the more passive energy. I feel that this heralds a new, a new emphasis on that feminine energy that is able to move forward confidently, perhaps out of the shadow of that dominant sun. So rather than we have this, I guess we're seeing that now in the type of decisions and leadership that is coming forward at this time, moving away from that dominant, as I say, that dominant masculine energy, that, you know, take no prisoners type of energy. We're moving toward back into a more considered, considered reasonable, logical type of energy. But Mercury is retrograde here. In fact, there are so many planets that are retrograde at the moment, or will be on that 21st, on the solar eclipse. We have Saturn retrograde. We have Jupiter, the great benefic, the benevolent, the lucky, the expansive. It is retrograde at the moment. And of course, in this 10th house here, we have major planets also conjunct, particularly Pluto, which is probably one of the only major planets that's not retrograde at the moment, and Jupiter, very closely aligned here at 24 degrees for Pluto, 25 degrees for Jupiter. So, getting back to the moon and the sun, the actual solar eclipse. The moon may be a passive type of energy, but it's also a very highly effective energy that knows what is needed for security and stability. That is the core of this more considered energy that I see with the moon. If you add in Cancer, we have more emphasis on emotional expression and perhaps what has been repressed to come to the surface. So I feel while there could be this more emphasis on the feminine, the divine feminine energy coming through, there's also that potential for repression versus emotional expression. So I think getting back to this third house, before we get to, I feel the more troubling conjunctions here in the 10th house. I think in summary, all of these, the sun, the moon, Mercury in retrograde, are all amplifying each other in the third house. Communication with passion and with feeling. So when we move to these conjunctions here in the 10th house, Jupiter is conjunct with Pluto in Capricorn in this 10th house of public image, authority figures, goals, public legacies. Jupiter, of course, believes in justice, but it is retrograde. And alongside Pluto, which can be associated with death and rebirth. Again, I go to the protests. So this is all sitting alongside karmic Saturn. Saturn is the enforcer of boundaries. It makes me think, and this is, as I said, the conjunction that I'm a little bit concerned about, that there could be violence and or injustice in a public place. The tensions that go with economic recession, of course, you've got Pluto in Capricorn, are starting to be voiced, and Saturn doesn't want to be dominated or constrained. But at the same time, it is the enforcer of boundaries. So I guess I'm less comfortable with these conjunctions than I am with what is occurring here in the third house. So what is, again, I get back to Trump's rally being held so close to this solar eclipse. We do have retrograde Mercury here in opposition with Pluto, which could hamper or stop transformation. What is seeking to transform? Well, the truth, justice, the ending of this delusion, and of course the emergence of this feminine energy, this more reasonable, logical energy, as opposed to this, aggressive, gaslighting, divisive type of energy. What is not supporting that transformation is the masculine or dominant energy, which wants to retain the status quo. So then we move to our other fireball planet, Mars. Of course, Mars and Neptune are conjunct in the 12th house, which governs the unseen, secrets, emotions, and the collective unconscious. Perception, I feel, will be heightened, and people will be able to perceive the layers of truth and lies and why these are occurring. So to me, this in the 12th house talks about a heightened perception and emotion and perhaps action on this, located next to Chiron. Of course, Chiron is the wounded healer. So you can see that in this 12th house, we're moving toward that ending of illusion and delusion. But it's an ending that doesn't want to go quietly, I feel, with these placements in the 10th house. And we have the solar eclipse bringing all of these energies to the surface. Now, if you think, viewers, that that wasn't enough, there is something, and there's more, as they say. We have Uranus in the 1st house, on the ascendant in Taurus. Okay, what does that mean? Let's go back to our chart. Hopefully you can see it. And I will, if I'm going to do more astrology readings, combining astrology and the tarot, I will update my software. But for the moment, we've just got the chart. So we go down to our Uranus sitting there right on the ascendant in Taurus. So in the 1st house, so the 1st house, of course, is the self. It is the identity. And of course, Uranus is the agent of change, although Taurus doesn't like change. So you're seeing more of these competing energies here. Uranus, of course, can be unpredictable and expansive. And I think that this solar eclipse, we can expect the unexpected, but perhaps in order to drive change forward. So in many aspects, the sun and moon here squaring Mars. Of course, squares are difficult aspects in astrology. It is Mars being one of the few planets, along with Pluto, that isn't retrograde during the eclipse, and of course Neptune. They're all squaring the Chiron, of course, which I talked about before, which is the wounded healer. So I feel that Mars sitting alongside Chiron could mean a pushback, energy and spirit coming together and pushing back against, really in order to heal these wounds of the last 3.5 years to 4 years that we've seen, not just in the US, but across the world. So there's a lot more to say about this chart. And of course, astrologers always, they can agree on many aspects, but but they can also disagree. The interpretation of a chart is, of course, up to the individual astrologer. So in summary, I think that this solar eclipse appears to consider all of the present energies in the world: recession, boundaries, isolation due to the coronavirus, the feminine finding expression and voice, the people being less inclined towards illusion and a demand for the truth, expression, illumination, and nothing less. Several harmonious placements here are also in this chart. It's not all bad news. Neptune and Pluto, people intuitively knowing and understanding the need for change and transformation. Mars sextiling Pluto, a harmonious aspect, and the midheaven as well, taking action on that transformation. Basically, it is time for change. That's what this chart is telling me. However, while there is this positive change going forward, that people are able to discern the truth, that they are woke, as they say, there's also these other energies trying to push back against that and trying to maintain the status quo. So this solar eclipse is going to be, I think, impactful. That's all I can say. We'll drill down now on the tarot. But add into that the US president's rally there, the day very close to the solar eclipse. And I think you can expect the unexpected. That's all I'm going to say at the moment in terms of astrology. Expect the unexpected, because with astrology, it's not so much a predictive tool. It's looking at the energies. And in this chart, there are some volatile as well as some optimistic energies as well. Will those two things collide? We'll wait and see. Now, I'm going to move away from my chart And also thank you to all the wonderful astrologers. I've been looking at astrology over the past year. I'm still a student, and all the wonderful astrologers that share their knowledge so freely. In particular, I have a mentor, an astrology mentor. So thank you very much for your help in bringing forward my learning with astrology. It goes so well with the tarot. The reason that I am embarking on this astrology learning and development is because often my tarot readings do reflect what is going on with the astrology. So it makes sense to look at that. Now, first of all, I'm going to draw an oracle just for the overall energies. I'm drawing from Revealing Light Oracle. I will send out a community notice updating you on the status of orders for the deck. So stay tuned for that. So let's have a look. Some viewers have already got this deck, and one in particular resonated, described the oracle as an oracle for the spirit, an oracle for the soul. All right, so let's have a look. What are the overall energies, please, for the solar eclipse in Cancer? The overall energies. I just feel walls. I heard the phrase walls are coming down. So those walls that we build up and we hide our emotions behind them, those walls are coming down. I talked about the people being able to perceive the many layers of truth. So they're being woke, as they say, in the 12th house. They're using the intuition, number 35. So this is all about change, and it's all about finding solutions to change. The message of this card is let go and trust yourself. So good counsel, if you find yourself steeped in the emotion of the solar eclipse, use your intuition and let go and trust it as well. This is air energy. So I feel that the energy of the solar eclipse is going to be quite strong. Cooperation, beautiful. Understanding that conflict and resolution are the building blocks of learning. What is possible here? Again, another 3, which is all about solutions and tapping into that creativity, that innovation. And 1 is the self here, all adding to rebuilding, up to 4, rebuilding foundations. We do have a Libran energy here and a Mercury. Libra, of course, is justice wanting to be expressed. And of course, we know that Mercury will be retrograde. So, possible cooperation, conflict and resolution. Let's see what else is here. And of course, the essence. What is all this about, and what is it leading to? Taurus in the first, Uranus in Taurus in the first house. Expect the unexpected. What is all this adding up to? This is talking about remembering who we are, remembering the best of us, bringing forward those energies, that divine feminine energy which resides in all of us regardless of our gender. It talks about really just moving away from the illusion, getting right down, number 1, the self, the identity, the first house in astrology, getting right down to remembering just who we are. So I feel across the world we do have volatility, we do have change, and change often happens smoothly, but it also happens, it can happen, it can be quite volatile. Change can be quite volatile. So we're heading to a destination of coming back to ourselves, and I think that's important to remember. What is that? That is the connections, connecting with each other, unity, finding the spark of divinity in ourselves and others. Of course, this is a Pluto energy as well, so we've got transformation here. Death, rebirth, moving through endings of cycles and into new cycles. So let's have a look at the tarot. I am using the Motherpeace Tarot. It is a round tarot. I usually use the square tarots, but I thought I'd give this a go and maybe build in my tarot scopes, use these round cards and perhaps go around the houses, each of the houses, but that's for the future. Let's have a look at what the tarot has to tell us about the moon, the solar eclipse in Cancer. The sun and the moon at 0 degrees exact in the 3rd house. I would assume, as I said, I'm not an astrologer. I'm still on my L plates, but I would assume that's a very rare thing to happen. So let's have a look at this Cancer. Of course, the feeling, the emotion, giving voice to that emotion. Show me what do we need to know? What are the energies of the solar eclipse in Cancer on the 21st of June? What do we need to know? Yeah. It's like a vortex, I feel. I'm just getting that sense that the energy is opening, is an opening up. So we have the Four of Wands, a celebration, a coming together. I'll bring the laptop down as the signifier card. And of course, this is really, if you look at, people like to talk about those protests that have been volatile, but I have seen come across my screen so much that is reaffirming and affirming the unity between people, the coming together. So we've got this overriding energy, I feel, coming through. And what is causing us to come together? It is that feeling and emotion. This is in the challenge position. It is the karmic card. It is the Wheel of Fortune. Interestingly enough, I think it has the 12 houses of the zodiac there. But the Wheel of Fortune can turn. It can turn, and it can turn in clockwise for the better. It can also turn back. However, I do feel that this isn't so much a detrimental card to pull or a challenging card to pull, because I feel that what this is telling me is there is a shift happening. There is a shift happening back toward a more unified approach. We just know it's part of survival. We know what threatens our survival, and we know what promotes our survival. And we've realised, or we have learnt, we have perceived that the disunity serves us very, very poorly. Okay, at the base of this reading is the Eight of Swords. Walls coming down, I feel. The restriction ending. This restriction, this Eight of Swords, is only in our mind. And of course, we've got a wand there, which is just sitting on that wall, telling us this person can climb over that wall. This is a new start. There are a couple of crows sitting on that wood as well, messaging this person, take the new start. Take the new start, break down the walls. So this is not. This is for the individual and the collective consciousness, this reading. Let's have a look at what was in the past. The Six of Cups. The past is in the past. A reunification with our higher selves, a reconnection with our higher selves. We are moving out of the base negativity and being immersed in that negativity to we are lifting ourselves up. That is beautiful. I talked about survival, and I do feel that this is the human race, or the collective consciousness, moving back into what works and turning away from what doesn't work. Crowning this reading, of course, is the Ten of Cups, unconditional love, community, voting with your feet for change. The Ten of Cups, beautiful card to crown this reading. And I am liking these round cards, the Motherpeace deck. Let's have a look at what's in the near future. The Ace of Swords. Of course, what a beautiful card to pull here, the Ace of Swords. So while we have all those challenging aspects with the solar eclipse, what we do have is the truth emerging. And there is a butterfly in this card, which is talking about transformation. I think the transformation is not going to be held back any longer. It is occurring. Here's our sword of truth. The sword that no one can take away from us. I've been saying that now for a couple of weeks. We are more able to discern the truth. Okay, let's look at the here and now, the Five of Cups. And of course, this is the loss here. This is the planetary formations that I talked about that indicate that we are suffering from recession, from COVID, from repression, from injustice, from inequality. We are in a way grieving for that. But of course, that is driving the current change forward. We in the atmosphere around, we are disappointed. This Four of Cups talks about cups that have been lost. So I do feel that these are the more challenging aspects of the chart that I brought forward. This is an underlying feeling of dissatisfaction, of wanting change. And change will be what we will bring forward. The hopes and the fears, the Nine of Wands, this is talking about, this is interestingly enough in the colour that's associated with the base chakra. Really, it's a had enough card. This, of course, 9 comes before 10, which talks about endings of cycles. So we want to end this. We don't want to go along with it anymore. At the outcome for this is the Magician card. Interestingly, the number 1 in the tarot, the Magician. Of course, the Fool is 0. And the Magician is number 1, the self, the identity. We're manifesting. We've taken back our manifestation power, albeit in the midst of a lot that has been destroyed and challenged and tarnished and stomped upon. We are the magicians now. We are actively creating our own future. Now, mirroring that is the Priestess of Wands, the Queen of Wands. This is a movement. So even though these protests they can't be held back because they are, and there is what appears to be a rainbow in this card as well. We want change. We want change. And the Daughter of Swords, we are going to the Page of Swords. We are going to be bringing forward the truth. We are going to be fighting for the truth. We are no longer in that illusion type of state, in that shocked state. We now understand what needs to change, and we're going to change it. The base of the pack, the Ace of Cups, the high emotions, the need for new starts, and of course, why? Because the Tower has been, we're moving through that Tower moment. So the Seven of Swords also clarifying that this is the lies and the deceit. It's interesting. This card depicts the fox in the hen house. And of course, this is the fox that is circling. We have seen so much of this that has brought down the Tower upon us, and we are moving back toward a unity here with this Two of Cups and the Daughter of Cups. Of course, this is all emotion. This is talking about this solar eclipse in Cancer and the Page of Wands. There is fire energy and water energy here, and I am drawn to that Sun and Moon conjunction in the 3rd house. These are momentous times. These are historic times. Watch for this solar eclipse in Cancer. Expect the unexpected. Be aware of your own emotions. Give voice to them in a tempered and a calm way. Nurture yourself. Love yourself. If you're feeling volatile, take that step back and express yourself calmly. Stay safe, everybody. Watch Trump's rally on the 20th of June. I feel that you can expect the unexpected there. All right, I just saw an orb running across the screen. I just want to thank Spirit for bringing me to this reading and enabling me to deliver it. I did ask that only the information be brought forward that is in our highest good. I'm not in the business of panicking people, but I do feel the solar eclipse may bring forward the unexpected, but the energies here, I have to say again and again and again with that Ace of Cups, we're moving through a transformation, a tower moment, and we're moving toward a new reconnection with our higher selves, and we're doing that through emotion and passion and inspiration. So I do feel the water and the fire energy are sitting nicely alongside one another. All right, so I'll leave that there. Thank you again for tuning in. Thank you all for your kind support. I'll be back with another reading soon, but that is the solar eclipse in Cancer, a bit of astrology and a tarot reading for you. Thank you very much.